Welcome to Mountain Valley HG with Chucky Boy and Tammy Joe. And tonight is night 2 of our Jessie tree. And our ornament for tonight is an apple. Now, the apple, when I see an apple, I think of a great story in the 3rd chapter of Genesis. And it's the story of Adam and Eve. And we find Eve in the garden collecting fruit from the trees within the garden. And she comes across this sneaky serpent, which was Satan. And a certain serpent asks her, "From what trees can you eat from?" And she's like, "All the trees in the garden. Any of the trees in the garden, we can eat from any of them, except for the one in the middle of the garden." The serpent's like, "Really? Why not the one in the middle of the garden?" And she's like, "Well, God told us to not eat from that one or we will surely die." And the serpent was like, "Seriously? You think you're really going to die if you eat from that tree?" He goes, "No. I know what the problem is." He goes, "God knows that if you eat the fruit from that tree, your eyes will be opened and you will be just like Him." Well, Eve picked the fruit from that tree and took it and ate it, and then took it back and fed it to Adam. And you see, you gotta watch. Satan, even today, he's sneaky like that. He will twist words and twist our thoughts and tangle us up so that we stumble away from God. But when they ate of the fruit, they realized something. They realized they were naked. And they ran and they grabbed fig leaves to cover themselves. And all of a sudden, in the cool of the evening, they heard God walking through the garden. And when they heard God walking through the garden, they hid themselves. I think probably in shame for what they had done. They hid themselves from Him. Now, what God does next, I find really interesting. God goes, "Where are you?" Now, the God I know is all-knowing. He knew where they were at. But He was like, "Where are you?" And called out to them. And they answered. And yes, we know that there was punishment for them eating from the fruit. But I think the thing we really need to latch onto here is God went walking and looked for them, calling out to them. So when we're living our lives and Satan tangles us up and gets us all confused and gets us busy and we don't seem to have enough time for God, we need to just stop and listen and hear His call and walk back towards Him. Because that love He pours out, even though that was the point that sin entered the world, God still loves us so much and still pours out so much love to us that He wants to be in a relationship with us and wants to continue to love us. So, this Christmas season, if you know someone who needs a little bit of that love like God chases after and gives to us, just share it with them. May God bless you, and may you have a wonderful holiday season.